Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India News, India's voice to the world. I'm Tanvi Taneja. Coming up in the next hour, India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar attends the Quad meet. Member nations strongly oppose any unilateral actions that seek to change status quo by force or coercion. Trump's bid to end birthright citizenship challenged in court by 22 Democratic-led states. Defence Research and Development Organisation conducts a key test in Scramjet technology development. And in cricket, India to play against England in the first T20 international at Kolkata's Eden Gardens today. India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar attended the Quad Foreign Ministers meeting in Washington, D.C., along with his counterparts from Australia, Japan and the United States. Member nations underlined the priority Quad has in the foreign policy and held discussions on wide-ranging dimensions, ensuring a free, open, stable and prosperous Indo-Pacific. The meeting sends a clear message that in an uncertain and volatile world, the Quad will continue to be a force for global good. This was the first Quad Foreign Ministers meeting just next day after Donald Trump took over the presidency of the USA. The next Quad Leaders Summit will be held in India. The joint statement by the Quad leaders stressed on their strong opposition to any unilateral actions that seek to change the status quo by force or coercion. Quad leaders agreed to reaffirm shared commitment to strengthening a free and open Indo-Pacific where the rule of law, democratic values and sovereignty and territorial integrity are upheld and defended. It also said that Quad nations maintain the conviction that international law, economic opportunity, peace, stability and security in all domains, including the maritime domain, underpin the development and prosperity of the peoples of the Indo-Pacific. It said Quad nations are committed to strengthening regional maritime, economic and technology security in the face of increasing threats, as well as promoting reliable and resilient supply chains. Meanwhile, US Secretary of State Marco Rubio held his first bilateral meeting with India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar after assumption of office as the top American diplomat. Both the leaders exchanged views on a wide range of regional and global issues. They also reviewed the extensive bilateral partnership of which Jaishankar said that Marco Rubio has been a strong advocate. Posting on X, Minister Jaishankar showed commitment of looking forward to closely working with him to advance strategic cooperation. On the sidelines of the Quad Foreign Ministers meeting, Dr. Jaishankar had a meeting with US National Security Advisor Mike Waltz at the White House. Apart from promising to work together on an active and outcome-oriented agenda, both the leaders discussed strengthening friendship to ensure mutual benefit and enhance global stability and prosperity. US President Donald Trump began his first full day in office attending a prayer service at the Washington National Cathedral on Tuesday and got a sermon and appeal to protect immigrants and respect gay rights. A day after declaring in his inauguration speech that there were only two genders in America and signing executive orders to crack down on immigrants, Episcopal Bishop Marion Edgar Budd pleaded with Trump from the pulpit to show mercy on people who were scared of what is to come.
Let me make one final plea, Mr. President. Millions have put their trust in you. In the name of our God, I ask you to have mercy upon the people in our country who are scared now. There are gay, lesbian, and transgender children in Democratic, Republican, and independent families, some who fear for their lives.
Further, Democratic-led states and civil rights groups have filed several lawsuits challenging US President Donald Trump's bid to roll back birthright citizenship on Tuesday in an early bid by his opponents to block his agenda in court. 22 Democratic-led states, along with District of Columbia and the city of San Francisco, filed a pair of lawsuits in federal courts in Boston and Seattle, asserting Trump had violated the US Constitution. The lawsuits take aim at a central piece of Trump's sweeping immigration crackdown. California Attorney General Rob Bonta addressed a news conference on Tuesday in San Francisco, expressing his disappointment.
I am deeply disappointed that we're here one day into the new administration, and also not at all surprised. In the hours after President Trump was sworn into office, he issued an onslaught of disastrous and damaging executive orders, including one that seeks to end birthright citizenship.
Donald Trump has also indicated that he may impose fresh sanctions on Russia if President Vladimir Putin refuses to negotiate a deal to end the conflict in Ukraine. Trump made these remarks while talking to media at the White House. However, the US president gave no details on possible additional sanctions. Trump also said that his administration was looking at the issue of sending weapons to Ukraine, adding his view that the European Union should be doing more to support Ukraine. Responding to a question on H-1B visa, US President Donald Trump has expressed his support for the program, emphasizing that he likes skilled and competent people coming into the country and that he has used the program.
I like both sides of the argument, but I also like very competent people coming into our country, even if that involves them training and helping other people that may not have the qualifications they do. And HB1, I know the program very well. I use the program. We have to have the quality people coming in.
USA's longtime allies are reacting sharply over President Donald Trump's decisions affecting bilateral relations, from trade policies to territorial issues and immigration. Leaders from various countries are expressing skepticism about the direction Trump's administration will take.
January 20th marked the day Donald Trump officially took office as the 47th President of the United States, but for many foreign leaders, the event was met with trepidation. Trump's announcement to impose China with a 10% punitive duty on its imports has also raised Beijing's eyebrows. In retaliation, China vowed to defend national interests and said that there are no winners in a trade war or a tariff war. On the other hand, Trump's administration might also hit the European Union with tariffs. Trump also signaled to hit Canada and Mexico with 25% punitive tariffs. While Canada pledged robust and rapid and measured pushback, Mexico urged calm in the face of Trump's trade threats that risk throwing their economies into disarray. The punitive tariffs against the United States' two major trading partners could come as early as February 1. Germany's conservative opposition leader Friedrich Merz, frontrunner in the polls to become the next chancellor, urged a united European stance in talks with President Trump. Whereas German Chancellor Olaf Scholz hoped for the United States to continue to be its closest ally outside Europe, Scholz also noted that Trump and his administration will keep the world on tenterhooks in the coming years.
The United States is our closest ally outside Europe. I will do everything I can to ensure that it stays that way. Our first discussion with President Trump and the contacts between our advisors point in this direction. Trump and his administration will keep the world on tenterhooks in the coming years in energy and climate policy, in trade policy, in foreign and security policy. But we can and will deal with all of this.
Trump 2.0 has begun with a bold start, but whether these orders mark a golden age for America remains to be seen. Bureau Report, DD India.
Meera Shankar, former Indian ambassador to the USA, joins us on the story. Welcome, ma'am, to the program. What would you say is the most significant takeaway from the latest Quad meeting?
Well, I think the most significant takeaway is that the meeting was held. Because, there were question marks about the extent to which Trump would embrace continuity in policy with the Biden administration. The Quad, of course, was resurrected by Trump himself. And so the expectation was that he would continue with the Quad. And the foreign ministers' meeting of Quad being held almost parallel with the inauguration signals the importance that the Trump administration will attach to the organization. The other, of course, are the usual themes that Quad has been focusing on for quite some time. The fact that they have condemned efforts to change the status quo by use of force, the fact that they have reaffirmed their commitment to a free, open, prosperous Indo-Pacific governed by the rule of law. And then they have stressed cooperation in the maritime domain, in critical resilience of critical supply chains and technological cooperation. These are all themes which have been a constant for Quad, and it's reassuring that these themes are going to be carried forward by the Trump administration.
Okay, and why do you suppose US President Donald Trump has delayed imposing tariffs immediately on China, Mexico and Canada as he had promised during his election campaign?
Well, he has asked his officials to come back with a report on US trade deficits and on foreign, unjust or unfair trade practices. Now, once he gets the report, he promises to actually impose tariffs in February on Canada and Mexico. 25% is what he's saying. But he will also look at other countries at that stage. I think this is a signal of a somewhat more deliberative process, but he wants to focus on the key trading partners with whom the US has the biggest deficits, and those would be China, Canada, Mexico. With China, Trump has signaled considerable moderation of policy because during his campaign, he was threatening 60% tariffs on all Chinese imports. Post his election, he's been saying 10% additional tariffs on Chinese imports. But he also wants to visit China within the first 100 days. His team has been in touch with the Chinese government through the back channel. He himself has spoken to Xi Jinping. So I suppose he's not ruling out the possibility of a trade deal with China at this stage, because that's what he did in his first term. He had a trade deal with China where China undertook to import hundreds of billions of dollars of more goods from the United States, but was not implemented because COVID struck shortly thereafter and most trade came to a standstill. So I think he's holding off perhaps to see A, what his officials report, and B, to maybe give himself the possibility of a trade deal.
India has apparently not been mentioned by President Trump in his latest statement on tariffs. Why do you think that is?
Well, that's because we are not a major trading partner. Our trade with the US, both in goods and services combined, is a little less than $200 billion. It's broadly balanced as well. India has a small trade surplus, which varies from $20 billion to about $30 billion on an average. So that is nothing compared to the hundreds of billions of dollars in trade deficits that the US has with its major trading partners. And those are going to be the key focus right now. I think with India, it's more likely to be, push in specific sectors where there may be US corporate interest. I don't think it's going to be something across the board, but last time we saw him push, for instance, on the Harley-Davidson, because those motorbike riders are a key constituency of his. So you could expect him to come to India with sectoral demands based on US constituency pressure. But I don't think India is one of the key trading partners of the US, and our trade is broadly balanced with the US. So even if they take action against us, it may not have much of an impact on dealing with US trade deficits.
Okay. Democratic-led states and civil rights groups have filed a number of lawsuits challenging President Trump's bid to abolish birthright citizenship. What does the US Constitution say on the matter, and is President Trump on firm ground on this matter or not?
Well, it is in the US Constitution. Citizenship by birthright is in the US Constitution. So perhaps it might require a constitutional amendment for birthright citizenship to be actually denied. But what Trump may be able to do is to put conditionalities through executive order on grant of birthright citizenship. And what I've heard is that it will still be available for foreign nationals whose children are born in the US, if they are in the US legally, but not for those who have probably, been there illegally, because right now even illegals whose children are born in the US are entitled to birthright citizenship. So I don't know if they will moderate and instead of an outright ban, look at imposing conditionalities on who is entitled to it.
Okay. We leave it here. Thank you very much, Meera Shankarji, for explaining to us how Trump administration 2.0 might take shape. Thank you for being with us. Still to come on DD India News Hour. Israel launches a significant military operation in West Bank a day after Trump lifts sanctions on settlers. South Korea's arrested President Yoon Suk-yeol attends the third formal hearing of his impeachment trial. An extreme cold invading the United States, breaking more than a century-old snowfall record.
This week on Defense Dynamics, explore the Indian Army's game-changing all-terrain vehicles, including amphibious JSW, Gecko and Polaris ATVs. Also, what makes the Rafale marine fighter jets a transformative asset for the Indian Navy. Discover how INS Mumbai's participation in exercise La Perouse strengthens India's maritime strategy. Learn why Armenia's choice of India's Trajan artillery system signals a shift in defense partnerships. Watch Defense Dynamics at 8 p.m. IST, Wednesday, only on DD India.
You're watching DD India News Hour. I am Tanvi Taneja. On to West Asia now. Israel has launched a significant military operation in the West Bank with soldiers, police and intelligence services working together to carry out a counter-terrorism mission. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has described the operation as a large-scale, significant military operation. Yenin has been a key point of Israeli military operations in recent years, with multiple raids and incursions taking place in the city. This move comes just 2 days after a ceasefire in Gaza and a day after US President Donald Trump revoked sanctions imposed by the former Biden administration on far-right Israeli settler groups and individuals for allegedly committing violence against Palestinians in the occupied West Bank. Meanwhile, 8 trucks were delivering more supplies to Gaza on Wednesday as the ceasefire between Israel and Hamas entered its 4th day. The truce deal requires at least 600 truckloads of aid to be allowed into Gaza every day of the initial 6-week ceasefire, including 50 carrying fuel. On Tuesday, the United Nations said that more than 2,400 trucks have entered the enclave since the start of the truce. According to the UN Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs, humanitarian priorities in Gaza include food assistance, opening bakeries, providing healthcare, restocking hospitals, repairing water networks, bringing material to repair shelters and reuniting families. More than 400 migrants reached the Canary Islands on Tuesday as per numbers provided by the Spanish Red Cross and local authorities. Spanish Coast Guards towed a wooden boat carrying 67 men, 2 women and a toddler to the port of Arguinguin in Gran Canaria late night. 5 other boats reached the coast of El Hierro carrying at least 350 migrants. The 7 Spanish islands of northwestern Africa's Atlantic coast are struggling to absorb a surge in irregular migrants, mainly from Mali, Senegal and Morocco. 3,223 migrants have made it to the Canary Islands in 2025. South Korea's arrested President Yoon Suk-yeol on Tuesday attended the 3rd formal hearing of his impeachment trial at the Constitutional Court in Seoul. Yoon, during the hearing, denied ordering military commanders to drag lawmakers out of parliament during his short-lived bid to impose martial law. Yoon said he had worked in public service with a firm commitment to free democracy. Parliament voted to impeach Yoon last month, and last week the Constitutional Court began a trial to decide whether to permanently remove him from office. If the court rules against Yoon, he will lose the presidency and elections will be called within 60 days. Yoon is also facing a separate criminal investigation into whether he led an insurrection. He's been detained since last week. It marks the first time in the country's modern history that an impeached president attends a court hearing in person. South Korea's aviation authorities have announced plans to replace concrete barriers at select airports nationwide. This decision comes in the wake of the devastating Jeju air crash on December 29th, which resulted in the loss of 179 lives. The Boeing 737-800 was flying from Thailand to Muan in the southwest on December 29th, carrying 181 passengers and crew when it belly landed at Muan airport and exploded in a fireball after slamming into a concrete barrier. It was the worst ever aviation disaster on South Korean soil. South Korean and US investigators are still probing the cause of the crash. A fire at a ski resort hotel in Turkey's Bolu Mountains killed 76 people and injured dozens, forcing panicked guests to jump out of windows in the middle of the night. Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan declared a day of mourning for victims of the fire that occurred at the resort on Wednesday. Authorities are conducting DNA tests to identify some of the bodies recovered from the scene of the fire. Police detained 9 people as part of the investigation. Yerlikaya said that prosecutors will shed light on the cause of the fire and people responsible will be brought to justice. A blizzard, a severe snowstorm with strong winds churned across the U.S. Gulf Coast from southern Texas to Georgia, the Carolinas and Florida that rarely sees such weather. At least 2 weather-related deaths have been reported as the cold storm broke snowfall records of more than a century old in a southern U.S. region, according to National Weather Service data. The winter storm disrupted air travel with flights delayed or cancelled. The storm is expected to hit Mississippi, Georgia and Florida early this week. Along with this, schools were closed on Tuesday and Wednesday. And next we take a look at what else is making news around the world. The Maldives government has launched a 2-week research project on a significant pre-Islamic site unearthed in Kashido Island in 2020. This initiative, led by the Ministry of Dhivehi Language, Culture and Heritage, aims to analyze newly discovered ruins and employ advanced archaeological techniques, contributing valuable insights into the Maldives' historical and cultural past. Indonesia aims to become a nation with 1,000 museums, with Minister of Culture Fadli Zon emphasizing quality over quantity. To achieve this, the ministry will collaborate with international institutions to train museum managers and curators. New museums will be established across the country with diverse offerings like a sarcophagus museum and an open-air museum. Vietnam's nationwide 450-day campaign to eliminate temporary and crumbled houses is accelerating to meet this year's target of fixing or reconstructing 350 homes every day. Simacai district in Vietnam's Lao Chai province has accomplished 100% of its target. The district border guards collaborated with locals for several months and fully funded the purchase of building supplies before the forthcoming Vietnamese Lunar Year. The Pacific Rhythm Festival was held in Australia's Tasmania province to celebrate cultural connections. Nearly 2,500 people came together for traditional and contemporary music and dance under the Pacific Australia Mobility Scheme known as PALM. Showcasing their unique indigenous cultural performance, the Solomon Islands of Tasmania hit the crowd with enthusiasm and amusement. And next, all the latest news from the Mahakumbh, the largest religious gathering of humans on the planet. On the 10th day of Mahakumbh, Prayagraj continues to welcome millions of devotees at the Triveni Sangam, the world's largest religious gathering. Millions of devotees have taken a holy dip at the sacred confluence so far. Being held after 12 years, the Mahakumbh will continue in Prayagraj until February 26th. Over its 45-day duration, this grand spiritual gathering is expected to draw more than 40 crore devotees, including pilgrims and visitors from across the globe. Charity is a strong pillar of Mahakumbh's vision and mission, and to ensure this, Netra Mahakumbh is taking place for the first time ever in the 10th city. The mega eye camp is giving millions of devotees free services, medicines and doctor consultations. Deepika Mehto brings us more details about one of its kind initiative at Kumbh.
Charity or Daan has a special significance in India's culture. It is also one of the strongest pillars of the greatest festival of Mahakumbh, which is currently underway in Uttar Pradesh's Prayagraj. One such event of charity which is unfolding for the first time ever is Netra Kumbh, which is an eye camp. The camp is giving free medicines, eye drops, doctor consultations and specs to thousands of devotees each day. Speaking about this unique initiative, the general manager said that this has been a dream project.
To achieve the goal OPD of 5 lakhs and free spectacles 3 lakhs to the all class of peoples.
More than 60 doctors are residing in the Kumbh premises, whereas more than 700 doctors are travelling to attend to the patients at Netra Kumbh.
Around 750 doctors have arrived here in Mahakumbh to see the patients, to operate them and to give them the best of the advices. We have with us few of the resident doctors. There are around 60 resident doctors who are residing at one single point of time. Let's talk with them.
I'm an eye surgeon. It is a big honor to be here. We have come here to give our health services.
Really, it is very nice arrangement. I appreciate the organizing team.
I appreciate the initiative by Yogi government, and this Netra Kumbh is really going to help a lot to the resident people as well as from all over India.
Netra Kumbh is setting a new benchmark, ensuring safety and security as well.
Meeting all the patients here at a setup which is the largest and the oldest congregation of devotees. And not only this, the patients are also getting eyeglasses. They are getting, and everything is for free. There is no cost that the patients have to pay here. And the aim is also to cater the larger number of audience here across India. With camera person Shiv Suman, this is Deepika reporting for DD India from Mahakumbh.
Still to come on DD India News Hour. World Bank appointed neutral expert backs India's stand on dispute with Pakistan regarding Indus Water Treaty. We understand what that means with our expert. India's Railway Minister met Swiss Federal Railways delegation at the World Economic Forum in Davos 2025. And India's Republic Day parade this Sunday will showcase important themes of women empowerment and self-reliance. watching DD India News Hour. I am Tanvi Taneja. A quick reminder of the headlines we are tracking at this hour. India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Shankar attends the Quad Foreign Ministers meet. Member nations strongly oppose any unilateral actions that seek to change status quo by force or coercion. Trump's bid to end birthright citizenship challenged in court by 22 Democratic-led states. Defence Research and Development Organization conducts a key test in Scramjet technology development for hypersonic missiles. India has welcomed the decision of the World Bank appointed neutral expert to address certain issues related to the projects under the Indus Water Treaty of 1960. The Ministry of External Affairs on Tuesday, in an official statement, shared that the neutral expert announced his competence to address differences between India and Pakistan related to the Kishanganga and Ratle hydroelectric projects in Jammu and Kashmir. India reiterated that it will continue to participate in the neutral expert process so that the differences are resolved in a manner consistent with the provisions of the treaty. The MEA also said that India does not recognize or participate in the Court of Arbitration proceedings in the matter, citing provisions of the treaty that do not provide for parallel proceedings on the same set of issues. And now to understand this story better, we have with us Ashok Sajanhar, former Indian senior diplomat. Welcome, Ashok ji, to the program. Why is Pakistan reluctant to accept the neutral expert appointed by the World Bank on the differences between India and Pakistan over the two hydropower projects in Jammu and Kashmir?
Thank you very much, Tanvi, for having me on your show. Pakistan has been raising these objections against the Kishanganga Dam project. Your viewers and listeners might be aware that India initially had proposed this project way back in 1994. At that time, it was a storage project. And then Pakistan had raised some objections. As a result of that, India changed it to a run-of-the-river project. And so we started constructing in 2007. But Pakistan raised objections. We went to a court of arbitration in 2011, 2013. The Court of Arbitration gave its decision totally in favor of India, saying that all the objections that were raised by Pakistan, they are not valid, and whatever India is doing is in consonance with the provisions of the Indus Water Treaty of 1960. Still, Pakistan went back again to the World Bank and raised some other questions. World Bank said in 2016 that there should be maybe there could be some discussions between the two sides. The technical issues that have been raised by Pakistan, that they could be resolved. But then the dam was completed in 2018. After that, for the technical issues, resolving the technical issues, World Bank appointed a nuclear expert. But Pakistan asked for a court of arbitration to the World Bank. Court of arbitration has also been appointed. As you said very rightly, and as the Ministry of External Affairs has said very correctly, there is no provision for parallel processes. So when there is a neutral expert that has been appointed to deal with these technical issues, there is no need of a court of arbitration. So India has termed it as illegal and has not been participating in its proceedings. And I think the decision on the 20th, 2 days ago, of the neutral experts saying that it is competent to deal with all the 7 issues that have been raised by Pakistan, that's a shot in the arm for India. And I don't think it's going to change anything, because the project is already functional since 2018. Prime Minister Modi had inaugurated the project in 2018, but it is, to create obstacles and to put spokes in the way of this project that Pakistan has been raising these technical issues.
Why is Pakistan expressing concerns over the design of the two hydropower projects?
Yeah, basically, I think what it says is that, Jhelum is one of the 3 rivers of the Indus river project, Jhelum, Indus and Chenab. that the waters of that go, these are western rivers, the waters of these rivers go to Pakistan. And what it says is, number one, it is going to take the water away from Kishanganga to Indus, which is not permitted in the Indus Water Treaty. Number two, that the water that it receives from Kishanganga in the Pakistan occupied Kashmir area, that water amount will be restricted, and also that it will have an adverse environmental impact as far as the region is concerned, POK and rest of Pakistan is concerned. These are the issues that have been deliberated upon by the Court of Arbitration earlier, and they have ruled against it, saying that although Jhelum River as such has been apportioned, has been given to Pakistan, but the run of the river projects are permissible, and India is fully within its right to put this dam in operation. And so Pakistan really does not have a leg to stand upon. But then it, whether it is on this project, Bagliha project, Ratte project, it keeps on raising objections. But all these objections have been have been turned down by the Court of Arbitration or the neutral experts that have been appointed by the World Bank.
Yeah, so will the decision of the World Bank appointed neutral expert be binding on both the countries?
Yes, it would be binding, and both. That is what the terms of the treaty suggest. World Bank, in its own wisdom, appoints a neutral expert. That is binding. Like in the Court of Arbitration, there are 3 experts. It's a 7-member team. There are 3 experts who are appointed by the World Bank, and 2 each by India and 2 by Pakistan. So there are 7 members. And the Court of Arbitration earlier, as I mentioned about the Kishanganga project, it had decided in favor of India. So here also the neutral expert, whatever he determines, he decides, that will be binding on both sides.
Okay, thank you very much, Ashok Sajjan Harji, for explaining to us this whole story in great detail.
Thank you. Pleasure. Thank you.
Moving on, India's Railways Minister Ashwini Vaishnav is in Switzerland to attend the World Economic Forum 2025. Ashwini Vaishnav met Swiss Federal Railways delegation and had a detailed discussion on safety technologies and maintenance practices. The minister also visited a rail coach manufacturing plant of Stadler Rail at St. Margrethen. Minister of Ports, Shipping and Waterways, Sarbanand Sonowal, inaugurated the Maritime India Conference and Expo 2025 on Wednesday in Mumbai city of the western state of Maharashtra. The 3-day event is being held on the theme Transforming India's Logistics, Capacity Building and Self-Sufficiency. The Maritime Conference and Exhibition offers industry insiders a dynamic platform for collaboration and growth. Addressing a keynote, the minister highlighted the importance of the maritime sector.
Which is key to the growth of human civilization. In all the aspects, civilization creating an ecosystem across the world for our friendship, love and affection, and also creating a greatest human task to everybody.
India's Hyderabad-based Defence Research and Development Laboratory has successfully conducted ground test of long-duration Scramjet engine. For the first time in India, a state-of-the-art active-cooled Scramjet combustor ground test was performed for 120 seconds. The successful ground test of this Scramjet engine is a significant milestone in the development of next-generation hypersonic missiles. Hypersonic missiles are a class of advanced weapons that operate at speeds in excess of Mach 5. India's Ministry of Defence has signed a contract with Heavy Vehicles Factory for the procurement of 47 tank, 72 bridge-laying tanks for the Indian Army. The contract, with a total cost of 1,560 crore rupees, was inked by senior officials of the Ministry of Defence and Heavy Vehicles Factory and Armoured Vehicle Nigam Limited in the presence of Defence Secretary Rajesh Kumar Singh in New Delhi. The BLT is a critical equipment which is employed to launch bridges during offensive or defensive operations by mechanized forces. It provides the integral bridging capability to the tank and armoured vehicle fleet enhancing battlefield mobility and offensive capability. Indian Army is making its presence felt not only on the borders but also across the globe. With its indigenous production, the Army is also helping the United Nations in conflict zones. On this Republic Day, both versions of the quick response vehicles would take part in the parade commanded by lady officers of the Indian Army. DD India's Prasar Bharati brings us this report.
This is Nandi Ghosh, which is a quick reaction force vehicle and heavy. And I have with me Major Radhika Sen. Let's talk to her and find out. Major Radhika, when we say heavy, what does it mean?
Heavy means basically this vehicle, it has almost 9,000 cc of the engine. It is a mine-protected armored personnel carrier. It weighs 16 tons and it can have take more capacity of 2.3 tons. So heavy means it is able to basically negotiate all type of hilly terrains, CICT operations, take ID blast, take a small arm fire onto it. So it's a heavy force which we represent of our country outside as well.
You said outside as well, and this is quick reaction force. So where did you go, and did you get to go outside also?
Yes, I've represented my country in the United Nations peacekeeping missions in Democratic Republic of Congo. Yes, we had a quick reaction force vehicle. However, this is a new version. It is a modified version which now has a better protection. The seats in this particular vehicle are facing outwards, which provides a better situational awareness for our own troops. It's a very powerful vehicle. Now it has been inducted into the missions, though I am back from the mission a year ago, but it has been introduced after I came back. Unfortunately, I wasn't there on these vehicles, but we had, the previous version of these vehicles outside.
Okay, now, is it the first time that you will be there in the RD parade?
Yes, sir, it will be the first time for me. I was there for the Army Day parade earlier, but this is the first time I'll be walking the Kartavya Path for the RD parade.
So there you heard from Major Radhika. This is an indigenously made vehicle, and she is also very proud because she is also very much part of the Republic Day parade. With cameraman Vinay in Delhi, this is Vishal Beristo for DD India.
And now let's take a look at what else is making news in India. Officials chaired a high-level meeting to review arrangements for upcoming Amarnath Yatra 2025 in Jammu and Kashmir. The meeting involved discussions on improvements in health services, sanitation, flood protection measures, solar lighting, parking facilities, mobile connectivity, transport services, contingency plans, among others, and also other vital infrastructure to ensure a seamless Yatra experience for the pilgrims. Indian Navy's indigenous destroyer INS Mumbai and long-range maritime surveillance P-8I aircraft participated in the sea phase of maritime exercise La Perouse from 17th to 20th of January with the French CSG, Royal Navy and Royal Canadian Navy units. The multinational exercise witnessed a wide range of exercise across domains such as air defense drills, surface shoots, boarding operations, cross-deck landings and tactical maneuvers, highlighting coordination and India's collective commitment to strengthen maritime security. A special cabinet meeting of the Uttar Pradesh government chaired by Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath commenced on Wednesday at the Mahakumbh in Prayagraj. The meeting approved several significant proposals and schemes for the state. During his address, Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath said that these new initiatives would bring investment to the state.
महाकुंभ में पहली बार उत्तर प्रदेश का संपूर्ण मंत्री परिषद उपस्थित है। हमारे सहयोगी सभी मंत्रियों ने आज यहां पर बहुत सारे मुद्दों पर चर्चा की है। प्रदेश के विकास से जुड़े हुए जो नीतिगत निर्णय हैं उन मुद्दों पर चर्चा हुई है। इसके अलावा यहां पर अन्य महत्वपूर्ण मुद्दों के साथ साथ प्रयागराज के विकास से जुड़े हुए मुद्दों पर भी चर्चा हुई है।
Later, Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath, along with Deputy Chief Ministers Keshav Prasad Maurya, Brajesh Pathak and other cabinet ministers took a holy dip in Triveni Sangam during the ongoing Mahakumbh in Prayagraj. Still to come on DD India News Hour. In tennis, Madison Keys and Iga Swiatek secure Australian Open semi-final spots. And in football, Liverpool secure last 16 spot in the UEFA Champions League.
This week on Defence Dynamics, explore the Indian Army's game-changing all-terrain vehicles, including amphibious JSW, Gecko and Polaris ATVs. Also, what makes the Rafale marine fighter jets a transformative asset for the Indian Navy. Discover how INS Mumbai's participation in exercise La Perouse strengthens India's maritime strategy. Learn why Armenia's choice of India's Trajan artillery system signals a shift in defense partnerships. Watch Defense Dynamics at 8 p.m. IST, Wednesday, only on DD India.
Thank you for staying with us on DD India News Hour. I am Tanvi Taneja. Going back to our top story, US President Donald Trump on Tuesday announced private sector investment of up to $500 billion to fund artificial intelligence AI infrastructure. The announcement on Trump's second day in office follows the rolling back of former President Joe Biden's executive order on AI that was intended to reduce the risks artificial intelligence poses to consumers, workers, and national security.
Together, these world-leading technology giants are announcing the formation of Stargate. So put that name down in your books, because I think you're going to hear a lot about it in the future. A new American company that will invest $500 billion at least in AI infrastructure in the United States and very, very quickly, moving very rapidly, creating over 100,000 American jobs almost immediately.
AI requires enormous computing power, pushing demand for specialized data centers that enable tech companies to link thousands of chips together in clusters. OpenAI, SoftBank and Oracle plan a Texas-based joint venture called Stargate and have committed $100 billion initially and then up to $500 billion to Stargate over the next 4 years.
I think this will be the most important project of this era, and as Masa said, for AGI to get built here, to create hundreds of thousands of jobs, to create a new industry centered here.
This is not just for business. As Radi said, this will help people's life. This will help solving many, many issues, difficult things that otherwise we could not have solved with the power of AI.
AI holds incredible promise for all of us, for every American. We've actually been working with OpenAI for a while and with Masa for a while. The data centers are actually under construction.
On TikTok, Donald Trump said that he was open to billionaire Elon Musk buying the social media app if the Tesla CEO wanted to do so.
Are you open to Elon buying TikTok?
I would be if he wanted to buy it, yes.
On your inauguration?
I'd like Larry to buy it too. I have the right to make a deal. And I've met with owners of TikTok, the big owners. It's worthless if it doesn't get a permit.
So Donald Trump has only been the US president for a day and a half, and companies around the globe are already feeling the pinch. They are reacting to the latest messages from the White House. One of the first initiatives on Trump's agenda, he banned the development of offshore wind parks. Lars Holte is with Deutsche Welle and joins me from Berlin now. Lars, how is this affecting German and other European companies?
Thanks for having me. Well, it's a direct hit because European companies are among the most active in the sector, and not just here on the continent, but internationally, with quite some business in the US, at least until now. Let's look at a German company in the sector. That would be energy giant RWE. They were having plans for offshore wind parks totaling an output of 6 gigawatt. That included projects in the New York Bay, off the coast of California, and in the Gulf Gulf of Mexico, which, by the way, is still called Gulf of Mexico, despite Trump's weird executive order to name it the Gulf of America. Anyway, these projects would have made RWE the second largest wind energy developer in the US. But all those projects are now off the table per Trump's decree. As for other European companies, Denmark's Ørsted has wind parks with an output of 3 gigawatt running right now, and they were planning a lot more too. Now, Ørsted took an immediate multi-billion write-off on those parks, and that has affected the company's shares and others in the business too. Well, to be fair, shares of these wind energy providers had been falling ever since Trump's election because his aversion to this form of energy had been well known. So as of now, Ørsted shares are down 26%. Turbine builder Vestas is down 27%, and German wind park builder Nordex has dropped by 7%.
But Lars, why is Trump banning offshore wind parks when so many have been planned and when they've been producing so much energy?
Well, it's for purely ideological reasons. Trump, as we've known for a while, operates in a post-factual environment. He has his ideas about certain topics, and facts be damned, he will decide on policy with no regards as to whether it makes sense or not. Look at wind energy in particular. He is saying wind energy is too expensive, it kills whales, and all the machines are being built in China anyway. None of this is actually true. Wind energy has been growing fast in the US and around the globe, mostly because it's comparatively cheap as an energy source. It's a lot cheaper than natural gas, coal, and nuclear energy. There's also no evidence whatsoever that it impacts whales or other marine wildlife, as opposed to other energy sources, because drilling and building pipelines actually does affect wildlife. And then there's the import matter. For years, China's market share in the US wind energy has been dropping, with 95% of parts and technology now coming from Denmark, Germany, Spain, India and Mexico. So Trump being wrong with every single reason for his ban makes it clear that it won't be easy to turn this around. The new US president is not interested in facts. He simply hates wind energy, and he is posing as an old school oil and gas guy. And that's the image he wants to project now and for as long as it helps him.
Okay, interesting. Old school oil and gas guy. That's how you put it. Thank you, Lars. Lars Holter reporting from DW Berlin. Time now for some sporting action. Team India, led by Suryakumar Yadav, will take on England in a 5-match T20 international cricket series in Kolkata on Wednesday. Reigning T20 world champions, India have been in terrific form in limited overs cricket. The men in blue have remained unbeaten in bilateral series since their triumph in Barbados. India's squad is further strengthened by the return of pacer Mohammad Shami. As for England, they will be entering the series fresh off a commanding 3-1 victory over West Indies. England announced their playing 11 for the first T20 on Tuesday. Jos Buttler is set to lead the side, while Harry Brook has been named as the vice-captain. America's Madison Keys blasted her way into the Australian Open semi-finals for a third time after overhauling Elina Svitolina 3-6, 6-3, 6-4 on Wednesday. Keys marched on in a barrage of power hitting, claiming the win on the first match point when a harried Svitolina thumped a backhand well past the baseline. Riding a 10-match winning streak, Keys will meet second seed Iga Swiatek as the American continues her bid for a first Grand Slam title. Meanwhile, 5-time major champion Iga Swiatek is past number 8 Emma Navarro 6-1, 6-2 in the quarterfinals. 23-year-old Swiatek is the youngest player to reach 7 Grand Slam semi-finals since Maria Sharapova reached 7th at the 2006 US Open. Union Sports Minister Dr. Mansukh Mandavia met the Indian women's and men's teams on Wednesday after the teams created history at the recent Kho-Kho World Cup 2025. During the meeting, Sports Minister expressed confidence that Kho-Kho will soon get a place in the Asian Games and even in the Olympics. He also asked the players to continue similar performance in future as well.
कप इंडिया में आयोजित हुई और एक अच्छा मैसेज भी गया। मैंने स्वयं ने भी प्रयास करा है और आप दोनों टीम वर्ल्ड चैंपियन हुई है मेरी ट्रेडिशनल गेम्स में हुई है, तो मैं और एफर्ट करके आप लोगों को एशियन गेम्स में खेलने का अवसर मिले, उसके लिए मैं प्रयास करूंगा। और जब हम 2036 में ओलंपिक होस्ट करने की अपेक्षा रखते हैं, प्रयास करते हैं, प्लानिंग कर रहे हैं, तब मैं चाहता हूं कि 2036 तक हम हमारे खो खो स्पोर्ट्स को ओलंपिक्स तक पहुंचा दें। इस स्पिरिट से काम करने की हमारी जिम्मेवारी बन जाती है।
On to football now. Liverpool booked the spot in the last 16 of the Champions League with a 2-1 victory over 10-man Lille, thanks to goals from talisman Mohamed Salah and substitute Harvey Elliott. Ancelot's men maintained their 100% record and are top of the 36th table, one game of the league phase remaining. Lille, meanwhile, is 11th with 13 points. Liverpool will travel to PSV Eindhoven for its final match of the league phase on January 29th, while Lille will host Feyenoord. India dedicates January 22nd to transform the collective mindset towards valuing and educating daughters. Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao initiative empowers girls, fosters equality and ensures a brighter and inclusive future of the nation. That's all for this edition of DD India News Hour. Do let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and the world on our DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. We'll be back with more news as it breaks air on DD India. I'm Tanvi Taneja from all of us here in New Delhi. Thank you for watching. Namaskar.